Hey, welcome back. In this video today I want to give an update on concrete pots. I have been creating them, as you may see in my Instagram page. So I did two already in this season, one for the Scarpmentuia and one potentially for one of the maples that you've seen in one of my previous videos. Now I want to make a pot for one of my ponderosa pine, and this is the shape of this metal frame skeleton. So somewhere the front of the pot would be somewhere here. It's a tree with an elegant movement this direction, and it's a tree that may need to mount a little more here than here. So this is the skeleton. Now, because I want to experiment, I took some leftovers from that and created this little crescent pot here. It's a bit hard to see now when it's only frame, but I want to take the opportunity to experiment with a different material. So in the previous video that you've seen me doing bonsai pots, I exclusively used the rapid set mortar, which allows you to sculpt very quickly, and I mixed polymer fiber and plasticizer to make it workable. This year I started to experiment with a different material. I was taking these wire frames and putting a thin coat of this mortar, which is in itself enough already to create a solid pot, but it's not enough to have a very beautiful finish. So it's a little rougher, the finish that you get only with the mortar. So this year I started mixing this product here, which is from a company called Poraver. These are extremely fine micro beads made of glass, expanded glass, and this is mixed with cement. So mortar will be sand with cement, and concrete is any sort of other aggregate with cement. It could be rocks for the foundations of your house, it could be very fine sand, but sand is very heavy, and this is an extremely light product. There are many different sizes, diameters of this particle. So for example, this one is 0.1 to 0.5 millimeters, and this is the coarser one I have, which is 0.5 to 1. So the bigger the diameter, the lighter it is. And so today what I want to experiment is to create the inner part, the what covers this shell entirely with this larger aggregates that is lighter. So the product will be much lighter than using the rapid set mortar, and then for the outside to use the finer diameter, again mixed with cement. The mixture ratio that I use is 1:1 in volume, so 1 volume of this to 1 volume of cement. And I'm using white Portland cement for two reasons. One, because I can stain it very easily at the end, and 2 because it's the one I have, but I could very easily use standard Portland cement that would be a little more grayish. So I will not use plasticizer. In my experience, this concrete made with this aggregate doesn't need the plasticizer. It's already sufficiently fluid, and but I will add fibers. So my fibers are there in that white bag at the end. But because I don't know if it will be sufficiently sturdy to be so that I can make the first coat on this material in the horizontal and past horizontal surfaces without it dripping off, that's why I'm experimenting with this little one here instead of this one, because this one I can do with the traditional method that I already developed, which would be using the mortar and then making the covering only with a mixture of cement with this. I will use 1 measure of cement, and I'll prepare it in small batches. So let me get the cement here. One measure of cement, this is I think a liter. No, not a liter. 960 milliliters. 1 of cement. One of this aggregate, and this aggregate you can buy from Poraver. They sell it in 55-liter bags. And get it shipped to you. So this is extremely light. So there we go, 1 and this should be more than enough material. Some of it may even be left. And now for the fibers. These fibers I buy them from, these are like this, I buy them from a company called Interstar here in Canada, and frankly I have to admit that I just add it by eye. I don't have a particular measure. The advantage that this has is that well, beyond the structural strength that it confers to the concrete, it is also something that you can burn off. So if there are little tiny pieces of this that almost feels like hair sticking out from the resulting pot, you can just run a torch very fast and easily over the surface and get all of it burnt. So like I said, I don't really have a particular measure, but the important thing is try to separate it. And if you cannot find this type of fibers, you can also find alkali resistant glass fibers that you can use to reinforce the cement. You can also buy ready-made fiber reinforced concrete, but of course this would void the advantage of what I'm doing here, which is a very light aggregate. So this is more or less the amount of fibers and everything. Now I will remove my watch and put gloves to mix the cement. And here you have to be very careful with the amount of water that you use. If you cross the line, it will be so fluid, and you can play with the amount of water to make it more or less fluid. So for example, if I want to cover the surface in a very easy way without, or even a dripping effect, I can make it more fluid. But right now I want something that is more sturdy so that I can put in all these surfaces. And if I see that they go well here, whatever is left I'll put in this one. And it doesn't matter if you don't do the entire piece in one go. The cement will self-adhere to itself. The exact amount of water I need is by eye. So here I'm adding a little bit, mixing, adding more, still need a lot more. Today I had a very intense day at work, and it's nice to be, somehow I felt like I needed to do some bonsai at night to relax from the work. And because it's winter already, all my trees are dormant. I have to plan carefully what work to be performed. My greenhouse is still okay, so I can work on trees in the greenhouse, like I worked on the maples last weekend, or not last weekend, I guess 2 weekends, I'm not sure. The Japanese black pine that I filmed but I didn't release yet the video, so by the time this one is released probably the other one will have been too. So right here I have this mass, and it holds its shape. It's still not fully mixed. I think it's well mixed. As I mix it all, those fibers get really spread around, and you cannot see them, you cannot notice them, but sometimes you feel some chunks of it, and then you just break it away in little pieces. But this is it. See here, there is a little piece of. So now I can take a piece of this, and I can spread it like this. I actually will do it on top of here so I don't waste any cement. Of course, on a bigger piece like that, it's harder, but here you can see it's so light that it's not really affecting the integrity of this material. It's not trying to bend because of the weight. This is going to be a very light pot, and very thin also, but structurally stable at the same time. So this is really a very good material. Now, so what I have to say is that the experiment succeeded. This aggregate works perfectly, and the only thing is that it takes a little longer to dry, but as it starts drying, you can start doing some carving or adding detail. Here for now the goal is only a thin layer, the first thin layer to create the structural backbone. This is the problem with the gloves, and this at some point the gloves just get destroyed. It's actually easier to work with your hands and then wash them, although cement is a bit corrosive and it's not very good for your skin. So here, just doing like this, doing like this. This is just amazing how this material is behaving. I'm loving it. When this dries, it will be so hard that it will be very easy to add any level of detail or that I want. So now we'll let this dry, and tomorrow we can finish this first layer and keep adding more. Hey, this is the morning after, and this is the pot after it dried overnight. It is sort of a crescent pot with legs. It's hard and sturdy and ultra light. This is the larger one where I put the leftover material. Of course, this one is still not hard, not sturdy enough. I need to do it properly. But here the use of the material was only to not waste it. So now I will finish this one, and I will prepare 1 liter of concrete, ultralight concrete. That will be 500 milliliters of the aggregate. Or maybe 400 is enough. Yeah, 400 is enough, I guess. Or even less. I'll try with 300. It's very hard to judge if you don't want to waste. 300, and now 300 of white cement that I'll get here off camera. So 300 of the cement. This doesn't have to be super perfect. There's actually a little bit more, 320. For this finishing, I don't need to put the fibers. So I will just mix this and start applying it. Some of the randomness that this process will create is nice. makes it more natural. So now I want to see if I find any major defects. I hope you can see. And all of this will be hand sanded down with paper, so we'll be able to give it any texture we want, or where our abilities allow us to be more precise, and it will look nice. Then there will be the question of how to stain it. So the amount of material was correct. As you can see, I can manipulate this material just like clay, not in the sense of rolling it and picking up slabs and whatnot, but in the sense that it has a certain consistency that allows it to work in different angles. So this is the piece for now. As far as I'm concerned, this is finished with the concrete, and now I have to sand down, add detail, and then stain and seal. So this project was started last night. It took me really a few minutes only, and today at night it will probably dry enough that I can start sanding, but I'll probably wait until tomorrow and sand it down. Have to be careful, some parts here are flimsy while they're wet, so I'll leave it, I'll stop touching it, let it dry. This I will sand it tomorrow morning, and I can stain it right away. So I finished putting multiple layers of the white cement, and I will experiment now with colors. First I used a 220 paper to sand down all the areas that I wanted to be smooth, and I created lines that look like rocks in some places. And now I'll experiment with color. This is a mixture of black and straw, 4:1, and I'm not entirely sure is the color I want, but we will experiment with it. I need to mix it more. It's kind of a green, which is weird. I would not have expected that I think it will be a dark. It looks green now as it's very concentrated. Let's try on the back here. Let's see what it gives. That's it for now, I think. This mixture with water can dry and then can be used again, so there is no issue with that. I'm not displeased with the result actually. So now I'll let it dry, and tomorrow I can seal it already, and this one I will do at another time. Hey, so this is the result of what I got with these pots. This one here weighs 7.3 kilos, which is a decent weight, much lighter than a normal cement pot of this size or would be, and equivalent or perhaps lighter than what a ceramic pot of such strength would be. This is frost resistant. This is high strength. This is sealed, so there is no issue with the alkaline nature of the compounds that are leached out of concrete as it's watered. I have many trees already for several winters that spend the winters outside, so freeze thaw resistance, and the trees are all healthy. So this piece here, for example, weighs 700 grams. It's far less than a clay pot of such thickness and strength could have. So this is a third piece that I made, and let me show you some of the details. So we have here this sort of stepwise erosion marks. We have here this kind of erosion marks that are very similar to this type of rock that I find it very nice. So I try to imitate a little bit the color, not entirely, but the texture in some parts. The color is also somewhat similar, so I have different colors elsewhere. This is the bottom part. So this piece here could be used on a vertical planting too. Could be used upside down also. But the original manner which I created it is to be used like this. This piece here weighs 4.3 kilos, so it's very light for the size. I'm sharing all the details as I go with it, so you can do your own, or if you're interested, give me a call and I'll see if I can help you. So this is it for now. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, bye bye.